You gotta try harder. Somehow, make it play. Oh, you're getting that energy. I see you flickering and lighting up. Just touch it and make it go boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh, are you getting angry? Oh, sorry. It looks like it. Yeah, I know you're trying. Looks like you're trying, but it's not playing. The people of TikTok aren't gonna believe it unless they hear the noise. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I know you're. Yeah. I can see you trying. A for effort. That's for sure.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my.
Today we're going to be asking my haunted doll about Brittany Murphy's death. There's a lot of conspiracies around this death. They say she died of natural causes, but a lot of people believe that she was poisoned or something else happened to her. So we're going to ask Lola as well as Buck decide to come through and see what they say. Nervous. Lola, do you know what happened to Brittany Murphy? Yes. Was Brittany poisoned? That was it. That's good. Was Brittany Murphy's death an accident? No. What? So it wasn't poison then, but it wasn't an accident. Did Brittany Murphy overdose on drugs? If you don't believe in ghosts, you absolutely probably will after hearing about Willow's Weep. There are a ton of apparently haunted houses throughout the world. However, Willow's Weep is known as the most haunted and evil house in America. The house is located in Eugene, Indiana, and it's creepily built in the shape of an upside-down cross. There it is. This is a top-down version. I don't like it. The story goes that in 2001, a woman by the name of Cheryl Skinner died of a heart attack. However, she actually died in the hospital, not in the house. Several years later, her husband committed suicide in the house. The kids of the home say that the house is being exploited and that it is not actually haunted. However, paranormal experts said there is definitely very dark entities in the house, and there are a ton of video evidence to prove it. You're no longer welcome here. This house is not your home. You are no longer welcome here. This house is not your home. You are no longer welcome here. This house is not your home. That's the Annabelle doll. Yes.
What's up, fuckers?
Ed and Lorraine Warren were both a part of the Catholic Church. And even though they collected the most evil things inside of their museum, they had priests praying in there all the time, and Lorraine even kept a picture of Padre Pio in her hand when she would go and visit these haunted homes. Now, from my understanding, someone could get possessed when there's fear involved. So with that said, I do not claim no negativity. God protect me, Liz. And everyone watching this by. The ghost of a little girl named Isabel used to haunt a Kmart in Anaheim until it closed. Items would fly off the shelves or turn on their own, especially toys. Once, an employee took all the batteries out of the motion sensor puppy toys. Then, just after the store closed, all the puppies turned on. Yes, all at exactly the same time without batteries. The location is permanently closed, however. Now in its place, there's a gym, a nutrition store, a nail salon, a Sprint, a laundry service, a Mexican restaurant, and a blood plasma donation center. The ghost of Isabel could still be there, haunting one of those businesses. What do you think she'd be up to? I will tell you all the scariest ghost story that's ever happened to me. So, whenever anyone asks me what my scariest paranormal experience is, this is always what I tell people, hands down. I'm gonna try to make it quick, but if y'all want a long version on my YouTube channel, let me know and I can make one. This happened when I was about 12 years old. I think I was 12 or 13, around there. I was with my sister and we were home alone. My dad was out walking on a walk around the neighborhood, so we were home alone. We were sitting in the living room, and how my house is set up is it's the living room, and then it's like the foyer, and then it's the stairs, but our stairs go like straight and then they turn and they curve, so you can only see from the living room, you can only see the bottom half of the stairs because the rest curve around the wall, if that makes sense. So we were just sitting on the sofa looking at like Facebook or something, and I started hearing noises coming from above us. And above us would be my dad's bedroom. It's It sounded like rustling noises, but I thought maybe the cat got in there, so I didn't think much of it. Part 2 will be up in a minute.
This is Clyde the Clown, and he used to scare me all throughout my childhood. He was apparently made in the 1980s, and my grandparents kept him in their basement. And my sister and I always just had this very bad vibe from him. It felt like he was watching us to end up in places that we didn't put him last. We would notice that the way he was posed would move. He was just altogether a very strange doll to us. He's supposedly based off what were called hobo clowns from the early 1900s. And actually, one of the first people to ever do this sad clown look was a man named Emmett Kelly. He created a clown figure named Weary Willie. And this was so baffling to people because they had only ever seen happy, bright clowns. So to see a sad, depressed looking one, it was interesting. So about a year ago, my grandparents decided they wanted to get rid of this doll. And they were actually planning on bringing him to the dump, and I intervened. And I basically told them that if they were going to throw it out anyway, I wanted to keep it. I don't really know what got into it. I was terrified of him as a kid, and now I wanted him to really live some more lives. I will not sleep tonight. Hashtag Mary.
Let me finish this match. No, I'm not, sadly. You want me to leave it? I can leave it right now.
Asking for ghost stories. Are you ready for this one? I just read about this one today, so get ready for the goosebumps. So this mother believes that the spirit of her 2-year-old daughter who passed away in 2018 was seen at the cemetery where she was buried. Her mother, Sandra, has had problems with people stealing things from her daughter's grave. Toys and personal items. So Sandra asked the cemetery to be on the lookout. Another family has a camera on a headstone nearby. The family reviewed their footage and what they saw concerned them. The family took the images of the little girl to the cemetery in the middle of the night. To the cemetery owners, concerned the little girl was lost in the cemetery. Right away, a worker said, "We know that little girl," and walked the family to her grave. These are the images that were captured at the grave. The next day, the family returned to the cemetery, and Sandra, the mom of the daughter who passed, happened to be at her daughter's grave. Sandra said she burst into tears when they showed her the photo because she said, "I know that's my daughter." Going right on it, and it took us to this shady part in the middle of nowhere, so it's really fine. All we see so far is like trees, a bridge. I think we had to go on this bridge and our locations are there.
Rinse off before going back to sleep. She propped her phone on a shelf, turned on some music, and then hopped in the shower. A few minutes later, she reaches for her phone to change the song, but stops suddenly. Reflected on her phone's screen was a person standing in the middle of her bathroom facing the shower. She somehow kept her composure and turned the water to scalding hot, and then ripped open the curtain and sprayed the intruder in the face. As they howled in pain, she ran past them to her kitchen to get her butcher's knife. In a panic, she can't find her knife, so she just runs out the apartment and calls the police. The police go in and come out with a crazy-looking woman in handcuffs. One of the officers comes over to the girl and says she used to live here and she had copies of your keys. Then he pauses and looks down and brings up a clear evidence bag that contained her butcher's knife, and he says, "Looks like she wanted her apartment back."
Brayden, all that you watch is anime. I used to watch a Roblox video. Joking, don't watch Roblox.
28. The sickness became too much for him, and he died. Stop just putting stuff in your mouth! Stop!
This really did happen. In 2015, a man woke up to a strange post-it note sitting on his desk. On it was a to-do list that he didn't recognize in handwriting that didn't look like his. Since he was up late the night before doing some work, he assumed he must have written out the list when he was half asleep and kind of forgot about it, so he just crumples it up and throws it away. 2 weeks later, he wakes up to dozens of these post-it notes all over his wall, and they're all blank except for one that, in the same weird handwriting, says, "Our landlord isn't letting me talk to you." Now feeling totally freaked out that some crazy person is crawling around his apartment at night, he starts looking for signs of a break-in, but there aren't any. Instead of calling the police, he shares his experience on Reddit asking for help, and one user's comment literally saves his life. Turns out the man was writing the notes to himself and then forgetting, because his brain was slowly dying due to a carbon monoxide leak that was only discovered because a user suggested he install a detector.
Legends from every state. Texas, the Candy Lady. In the 1900s, children in an unnamed rural town began to go missing, and people were blaming it on the Candy Lady. The story says that she would go around leaving candy on children's windowsills, and she would be able to lure them in by leaving notes promising more candy. This story picked up steam when a farmer found rotten teeth on his farm, and eventually found the dead body of a boy with candy stuffed in his pocket. What little is known about the origin of this story, many claim that the Candy Lady is real, and her name was Clara Crane. Whichever state gets the most likes, I'll do tomorrow.
By Sparta, as the story's called the Demon Dog. For the short term they knew him, they called him Shanks. So who guessed it yet? Shanks is a miracle. But since I found Shanks, there was just something off. So Shanks was a big, tough, and a very strong dog. But when you looked into his eyes, there was something evil that wanted to get out. The Shanks was a stray. He was found covered in blood months ago. The vet said that it was blood from a carcass or something that he had eaten to try and survive. But after we saw Shanks attack Robin Warman while she was hanging out and washing, we knew it wasn't for survival. You see, Robin was 8 months pregnant when Shanks hunted her down and attacked her. Police said that they couldn't even recognise her once he'd finished ripping her apart. And unfortunately, neither her or her unborn baby survived. Since he ran away that day, 3 of his past owners have stepped forward, all with gruesome stories about Shanks, and all have refused to describe to police what he looks like because he still stalks them.
He's taken right before death. First, we have this 18-year-old girl who wanted to get the most extreme selfie, so she climbed up a bridge, which was about
Ready up, you foot chicken.
then she fell off, but it wasn't the fall that killed her. All the way down, she grabbed some electrical wires and the electric. This picture was actually taken by a guy who was just testing out the
So watching porn.
and it shows this 14-year-old boy literally This looks like your typical best friend picture before a night out, right? Except the night would end in disaster with one of them using the pouch he's wearing to strangle the other. She then ended up being intoxicated and she couldn't remember anything of the night anyways.
Behind you might look like a normal photo, but it's actually one of the most sinister, real-life haunted photos in history. Taken by a professional photographer in 1972 as guests arrived for a wedding, everything in this picture looks happy and normal. But if you take a closer look at the man standing in black, you'll see something odd. You actually see somebody in white crouching behind the man. All 4 of the people in the picture saw nobody behind the man. The photographer said the same thing, and that it would be impossible for someone to crouch behind them without him seeing them. This is a better picture where you can actually see the guy's legs, and then in the top you can see his eyes. The picture was even examined by police photographers, and they confirmed that it was genuine.
Someone offers you this. Walk away. In 2016, a man was staying at his friend's cabin in the woods when he decided to go for an evening stroll. A little ways down the trail, he hears someone call out from behind his neighbor's house. He looks up and he sees this skinny guy pop out from behind the building who starts waving frantically at him to come over. Worried this guy could be in trouble, the man takes off running to assist. But when he gets close enough, the neighbor just offers him a fistful of Slim Jim.
Braden. Get out of my chat. Go, Leslie. Oh yeah, I'm a VIP. Ugh. Yeah, I got the pin message. I put the pin message as foot. No, it's mine. They're VIP up there. I can. What? Be sure that dude's team is dead. Fate. Fake love with a love go. I can't stand.
Soap Sally. There's a legend in some regions of Appalachia about this creepy old woman who walks around the town at night looking for children who have run away from home. If she finds one, she grabs them by the hand and leads them towards her house in the woods, and nobody ever sees them again. Here's the creepiest part. People say she turns the children into soap. Some even say she makes the soap resemble children's hands, and when she's done, they say she sells the soap to the parents of the missing children. So parents in that area used to use this story to scare their children. So if their kids were out too late, they would say things like, if you don't get home before dark, Soap Sally will get you.
I can't stand.
Did you guys know that the Teletubbies are actually extremely tall? I found this fact out like a year ago, and it's absolutely horrible. Because back when you're a kid and you're watching the show, they look so tiny and little, but they are actually enormous monsters who would tower over Barney himself. Like, there are pictures of crew members standing beside the Teletubbies, and like, they're so much taller than crew members. They are actually over 7 feet tall in real life. I have no idea why they made them so tall, but I'm so glad I didn't know about that fact as a kid, because I would probably stop watching the show.
Good one.
Do you guys remember that creepy Beanie Baby urban legend? There was a rumor back in 2014 that was freaking people out all around the world. The rumor was that spider eggs were used to fill these popular Beanie Babies back in the 1990s. And it was said that in 2014, these spider eggs began to hatch. Now, apparently these spider eggs belong to ground recluse spiders, which are horrifying to look at. And all over the world, people were reporting that these brown baby spiders were bursting through the seams of their Beanie Babies everywhere. So people were throwing out their Beanie Babies left, right, and center because obviously they didn't want these spiders to be like hatching all over their bedroom. But thankfully, later on it came out that all of this was just a hoax. Because obviously spider eggs can't just lay dormant for over 20 years, that's impossible. But still to this day, I can't look at Beanie Babies the same. I just can't. This is part 2 to the previous video about how we caught that ghost in the cemetery. A year later, my husband and I decided to go back to see if we could find him. But the second I stepped foot in this cemetery, I felt so sick and really weird. So I immediately told my husband that I wanted to go home and I did not want to be there. It was raining so hard on the way home, it was storming, and the whole way back I felt like
I only got hit by one.
That night when I went to bed, I had the weirdest dream of my life. The dream was that I was lying in my bed, and all around my room there were these spirits walking towards my bed. And they were all standing around the bed just
Fuck you.
This place called the Boston Mill Cemetery, and there's so many graves there that are from the 1800s. We were exploring and filming there for about half an hour. I didn't see anything really creepy, so we decided to go home. I ended up uploading all of that footage to my YouTube channel, didn't think anything was wrong. About a month later, I got a DM from somebody that told me there was a ghost in the graveyard standing behind us. Now, at first, I didn't believe her really, but I went
Fuck
to the
you, fuck
exact
you, fuck you, fuck
timestamp
you.
that she told me, and there, standing behind my friend Matt, was this ghost. It almost looks like he's wearing a suit, he has like a white face, and he's just standing there behind the fence. And what's
Brayden.
there was no one there that day, guys. There was absolutely nobody. And to this day, the image of this guy still haunts me. We went back there one day to find him, but that'll be part 2. These tiny things right here are called frozen Charlotte dolls. And they were used back in the 1850s as children's bath toys, which is so weird to me because they're literally porcelain. They started off as just these innocent little things, but one day they became associated with this poem called Frozen Charlotte. The poem is about this girl who went out on this cold night and froze to death on New Year's Eve. And I'm not too sure how that poem really became associated with these dolls, but then they were called Frozen Charlotte dolls. So they were no longer bath toys and became collectibles. And whenever people received one, they usually got it in a coffin. So in other words, these were like death dolls. So I bought some, and these are authentically from the 1850s. It's crazy. Here's a closer view of them. They're kind of broken and dirty. And look at their cute little bums. I mean, come on. This was the day that someone attempted to kidnap my sister. So my family and I went on a trip to Paris back in 2014, I believe. And on one of the days, we really wanted to go see the catacombs. And I don't know if this is normal, but there was a super long line there, and they told us we had to wait for about 2 to 3 hours. So to pass the time, we were sort of just exploring, walking around the streets, looking at stuff. And my sister and I were probably walking about 10 meters in front of my parents. Now, this was a very crowded area. People were everywhere. We were like a can of sardines or something. And suddenly this man in the crowd grabs my sister's arm and starts pulling her through the crowd of people. And I was the only one closest to her, so I started screaming, going after this man. I even started kicking him. And I was so weird that I was going to lose her in this crowd. Well, my dad saw us screaming. He ran over and he threw this guy across the road. I'm not even kidding. The man ran away, and I just cannot believe that happened. Hi guys, okay, so since we were on the topic of ghost photos, I thought I would show you guys one more that I found that was taken of me back in 2015. So my friend was over, we were both bored, so we decided to go out and do like a photo shoot thing. We were driving down the road trying to find a good location for our photo shoot when we passed this old abandoned barn. Now this barn was like half collapsed, the windows were broken. We thought it would be a really cool like location to take these pictures. We took like hundreds of photos, and when I was looking through them later, I saw this one photo of me where in the window you can see this creepy like figure. It almost looks like this woman who has like a white cloth over her head. It looks like she's standing in the barn like peering through the window at me. And who knows, this could have just been like a really weird reflection, but it still haunts me to this day, so I had to show you guys. What do you think?
I can't stand figures with the
Houses on Halloween. There are literally
Brayden.
saying that if your doorbell rings late at night on Halloween, like midnight, maybe 10 or 11 p.m., you should not answer it. People who have answered it will see 2 children standing on their porch with black eyes. They will beg you to allow them to come into your house and open it up. Instead, close the door and go hide somewhere in your house. They will start
Brayden!
pounding on your door, begging to let them in. Just ignore it. They are basically creatures that resemble children between the ages of 6 and 16, pale skin and black eyes. And nothing bad things happen when you let them into your home. I wanted to tell
Brayden, you're so spastic.
doll that came out in 1996. This was actually a Cabbage Patch doll that was called the Snack Time Kid. Now, this doll actually came out for Christmas time in the 90s, and everyone was freaking out over it. It was flying off the shelves, everybody was buying it. But soon after, it was recalled because it was eating children's hair. Now, the point of the doll was so that kids could place plastic food in their mouth and they would actually eat and chew it. But it had a very powerful battery and jaw and teeth. And kids' fingers and hair would often get caught in the mouth and they couldn't turn it off. So it would literally chew on kids' hair all the way up to their scalps and literally pull it out. The amount of hospital visits they would get were insane. I also heard this rumor that it ate someone's guinea pig, which I hope
Scariest SCPs Part 2, B173. Its origin is unknown, but what we know is that it cannot move if it's in a person's line of sight. Also, for an unknown reason, produces a layer of blood and feces on the ground. That means that its cell must be cleaned twice a week. 3 personnel must enter the room, and the one is just cleaning and the other 2 are just stirring. But these 2 cannot blink at the same time. If they are going to blink, they must inform each other. If they blink at the same time, it will attack and kill all of them by snapping their necks or by strangulation. Scariest SCPs Part 3, SCP-049. It actually looks like a medieval plague doctor. But these are not doctor clothes, it's actually his own skin. Actually pretty cooperative, but he hates pestilence. If he thinks that you have pestilence, he will kill you with one touch, and that one touch can shut down your whole biological system. Still thinks that you have pestilence, even if you are dead, then he will do surgery on you. And then he will reanimate the corpses, but they won't look like the same person, and you will become something like his zombie slave. Scariest SCPs Part 4, SCP-106. This guy is just creepy. It is basically a rotting zombie. It also likes to consume humans between the ages 10 and 25. Unlike zombies, it uses corrosion to break down any material that stands in its way. So it can actually pass through any materials, metal, walls, and that kind of stuff. And this is what it does to its victims. Scariest SCPs Part 5, SCP-1471. This one is not a physical entity, but it is an app, and once you download it for free, you cannot uninstall it. Then it will start sending pictures to you every few hours with him in the background. After 24 hours, it will start sending you messages with pictures with him in the background from places you have been. After 72 hours, you will start getting images of you in real time and him somewhere close to you. And after 90 hours, you will start seeing him in real life. You will start visualizing him and you will go insane. It will start to communicate with you, but you won't understand. He will not kill you, but there is no cure. Scariest SCPs Part 6, SCP-682. This SCP must be destroyed as soon as possible, but we don't have the means to do that. For now, it is unkillable. Its form is like a reptile, and it is extremely intelligent. It can even communicate with other SCPs. The problem is that it has an immense hatred for any other living being, so it could just wipe the whole planet. Scariest SCPs Part 8, SCP-3000. This little guy is between 600 and 900 kilometers long. He doesn't move that much and he doesn't eat that much, but when he has a prey, he can move really fast. Directly observing this creature can cause you severe mental distortion. If you get near his area, then you will get severe head pain, fear, paranoia, memory loss, panic, and all that kind of stuff. Scariest SCPs Part 9, SCP-055. It's been called self-keeping secret. That's because people don't remember who obtained SCP-055 or how it was obtained. Whoever encounters it, he forgets immediately. So there are no records for its appearance or anything like that. People tend to forget about these facts and also the containment room, the sign and everything, so they rediscover it again and again. It may have even knowing. Scariest SCP is Part 10, SCP-354. It's a lake filled with red liquid similar to human blood, and the bottom to the pool has not been found. People have noticed that creatures emerge from the pool and try to escape, and all the creatures have been extremely hostile and dangerous. It has killed many personnel, and there is a worry that something extremely horrific will emerge from the pool. Scariest SCP is Part 11, SCP-072. This one is a shadow. It's a 1 meter long hand which lives under beds, and it will wait until a human uses the bed and falls asleep. Then the hand will tap on your leg until you wake up. Then you will find that you cannot move. Then it will slowly slice and cut your foot. It will get the foot under the bed and repeat the process again and again. You will feel all the pain, but you won't be able to move or cry for help. What is Leatherman was real, so you probably already know this guy. He attacks to people who think about him and they are paranoid about him, and mostly children. And he hunts at night, so we would probably have a curfew. Of course, it would be much more scarier with him wandering around. Not only he can kill, but he can control your mind to make you kill others. It is also said that there might be a way to kill him. The problem would be to track him down and find a way to kill him. Also, there would be a lot of stories and rumors about Leatherman, and a lot of theories that he's a good guy or something. What would you do if he was real?
Give me a second, those. About 3.5 hours. Season 6 begins in about half an hour then. Yeah, half an hour. Just it's a bit glitchy.
We got another one victory royale. Yeah, Fortnite, we about to get down. 10 kills on the board right now. Just wiped out Tomato Town. My friend just got down. I revived him. Now we're heading southbound. Now we're in the Pleasant Park streets. Look at the map. Go to the mark sheet. Take me to your Xbox to play Fortnite today. You can check your SteamWire, but not really. I really love to chop with you. We can be pro Fortnite gamers.
Looks like her.
Now we're in the Pleasant Park streets. Look at the map, go to the mark. We got another one victory.
Look, I know it's been a crazy few years on this.
Make sure you can sit fit.
Look, I know it's been a crazy few years on this.
Make sure you can sit fit.
Look, I know it's been a crazy few years on this.
Oh, Brayden. Now you're back. So. Get a number one victory royale. Yeah, I'm about to get down. friend is going down.
Despite ongoing appeals and national
Brayden?
coverage, nobody ever came forward to claim or identify.
Why do I have
Numerous theories have been put
the bodyguard costume, but I'm VIP?
able to meet the cost of a funeral, that he died of pneumonia, or he had been aboard a ship visiting the Tay. The people of Tayport raised money and he was buried in the village.
Oh, an AFK.
Representatives paid their respects once a year.
I had to go
His
do
headstone
something.
reads, erected by the people of Scotland in memory of the unknown bairn. When you think about Scotland, what do you think of? A common answer would be bagpipes. But what happens when the piper himself vanishes into thin air? There are several stories of phantom pipers throughout Scottish history and folklore.
Are you on the top floor? I'm coming.
Tunnels is said to have existed near Stranraer in Dumfries in Galilee. Locals believed that fairies lived in these tunnels, with no one daring to go inside and disturb them. Until one day, a piper entered the caves. He played his pipes
Ready up.
loudly, accompanied by his faithful dog. The music droned on for hours, slowly fading away until it couldn't be heard anymore. Suddenly, the dog ran out of the cave, terrified and howling. The piper was never seen again. Although the caves are long gone, on summer nights, passers-by have heard the distant sounds of bagpipes coming from deep within the ground.
What really happened to Mary Reeser? July 1st, 1951, at 9 p.m., Mary Reeser's son, Dr. Richard Reeser Jr., had left his mother after a visit. Reeser, who was 67, would not be seen alive again. The door to Reeser's small apartment was warm at the handle and too hot to touch. Firefighters burst into a soot and smoke-filled apartment, and Reeser was gone, and only a pile of black ash remained. Police found coil springs from the chair and part of Reeser's backbone. Her left foot sat in the pile, still wearing a black silk suit. Her skull, police said, had shrunk into the size of a cup. Firefighters found evidence of extreme heat. Bare candle wicks towered above puddles of melted wax. Smudges of smoke had stained the tops of poles, and electric switches lined them. Lower down, the walls were clean and the electric switches looked normal. Reeser's newspaper sat untouched. The sheets on her bed were still white. Mary Reeser went up in flames without the rest of the room burning.
You might think holding a plane for ransom and then escaping mid-flight without anybody noticing is impossible. But in 1972, Dan Cooper did just that. So Cooper hops onto a plane in Portland, bound for Seattle, slipping a note to the flight attendant and telling her he has an explosive. The airline agrees to his demands of approximately $1 million today and 4 parachutes to be ready on their arrival in Seattle. And they do all of this with the other passengers none the wiser. Once he gets his ransom, he lets all the passengers off the flight and then tells the captain that they're flying to Mexico. But the first, they're going to stop off in Nevada. Now, when they arrive in Reno, Nevada, that's when they notice that he's not on the plane anymore. At some point, he'd managed to jump out of the plane without anybody noticing. I mean, how does that even happen? There's like air pressure and etc., etc. The last lead was in 2017 when they found a parachute strap in one of Cooper's potential landing sites. But other than that, they haven't been seen or heard from again.
I love being wanted. No, I feel sad for Zach. Like, Brayden, remember yesterday when my dad came in? And he was like, Braith, I got the milk. I was like, no way, Dad, you actually came back with the milk?
This footage from a security
Zach didn't say a word.
what appears to be a real-life Men in Black agent talking to the store's receptionist. Unfortunately, there isn't any audio in this clip. What the man appears to say to the woman alarms her, as she reaches into her drawer, pulls out a gun, and aims it at the man. But all the man does in response is remain calm, lift his hand in the air, tilt it, and put it right back down on the desk. This seemed to put the woman in some sort of a trance, as she put the gun down and gave him a mysterious package. This next video shows a woman shopping in China when an item behind her mysteriously falls down. She then proceeds to pick it up and put it back onto the shelf. Immediately after doing this, she begins to act very strangely, as if she was being possessed. She then falls to the ground and proceeds to freak out as if she was in severe pain. As the other shoppers in the store try to help the woman, she lets out a ghostly scream which causes the camera to flicker and items to shake. Many people believe
So you didn't really plan it out, it just happened.
This is Sarah Johnson. She's 16 years old and she is charged with killing both her mother and her father at the age of 16. So what had happened was that she was 16, she was dating a 19-year-old illegal immigrant, which did not fly very well with her conservative Republican parents, that not only was he older, but he was also in the country illegally. So they would fight a lot, and then she went and said that she was engaged, and the parents said, absolutely not, you are not engaged. And then the following day she took a gun, she shot her dad twice in the chest, and her mom was in the car. So she called police saying she walked into a robbery, and that the robber had killed the parents, which is so
No, fuck off.
But hey, they're 16. So
Brayden, help your VIP.
the brother, I believe it's a half-brother, step-brother, but anyway, there's that relation there. And he immediately was like, how could your boyfriend do this? And she was like, yeah, how could he do this? Part 2 coming. So part 2 of Sarah Johnson. So the brother had really started to be concerned that it was her, even though at first he thought it was the boyfriend, then he thought maybe they did it together. So she was arrested because they did find DNA evidence in the bathroom that had her DNA on a latex glove that also had gunshot residue. She did retrieve the gun from the guest house where a family friend was staying. It was out of town. She shot her mother in the sleep, and then her dad, when he was in the shower, her mom was shot once in the head, and dad was shot twice in the chest. So she was arrested. She pleaded not guilty. She ended up, there's mountains of DNA evidence, and basically everybody testified against her, mostly for her behavior after the fact, not even before, just really after the fact. And the boyfriend didn't get anything. I think he was involved more than they're saying, but I'm just a PhD student. Nobody cares about my opinion. Part 3 is coming out. Part 3. She was charged with 2 concurrent life sentences plus 15 years for a gun charge, which she's serving 2 like, why? Okay, anyway, right over. She was charged 2 concurrent life sentences plus a gun charge, which is absolutely ridiculous, and then
Brayden,
they tried to get another case.
Remember yesterday when my dad came in, and he's just like, Dad, Dad, and he's just like, Braith, look. I was like, no way, Dad, you actually came back with the milk. Like, Zach didn't say a word.
For her life now and then her next life, clearly.
Remember when me and my dad were fooling around, like yesterday?
I'm gonna end this part here and then start part 4 where I talk about like kind of the psychology behind it.
Zach didn't say a word.
So part 4, we're gonna talk about
I feel bad for him now, because like,
most of the time when a parent is shot in their sleep, especially by a female perpetrator, the rule is that there's a lot of abuse you have to look at in the household. There's something that isn't adding up because 9 times out of 10, the profile of this case indicates there's a strong likelihood of abuse. However, that wasn't the case. Her parents were actually very supportive of her, except for her relationship with her boyfriend. They just wanted what was best for her. So then when you have cases where there's a boyfriend or a significant other involved, there's a lot of manipulation in that relationship.
Hold on, this motherfucker can't have a harpoon, but they can have the word gun, a flat gun.
In this case, I think she really just wanted to grow up, and they were in the way. And
fuck off.
That does happen quite a bit. Normally, though, you'll find that there's more of an aggressive.
Same fishing spot as the last round where I found a purple charge.
Sorry.
Get that purple P90, you dog.
There was a time when it literally rained human tissue. It was a muggy August morning in Oakville, Washington in '94. The air felt unstable like a wicked electrical storm was due to begin. An officer was working in overnight when something bizarre began falling from the sky. He turned on his wipers, which only smeared the gelatinous substance all over his windshield, making it impossible to see. The blobs fell over a 20-square-foot-mile radius, and even the most gifted scientists were stumped. This weird precipitation fell a total of 6 times. Within 24 hours of the first incident, people began showing up at hospitals with mysterious ailments they suffered from. Difficulty breathing, vertigo, blurred vision, fever, and nausea, and the illness lingered for months. Sadly, several animals died after exposure. A sample of the jelly was sent to a lab for testing, and the findings were chilling. The blobs contained human white blood cells. A microbiologist tested them further and found that the blobs were also packed with 2 dangerous bacteria found in the human digestive tract. What?
This photo
have 2 slotfish. I really want to. Why is this one with the flare guns I go?
First bird to ever testify in court. On May 13, 2015, police arrive at a home near Sand Lake, Michigan. Inside, they find the bodies of Marty and Glenna Durham. Marty had been shot 5 times, and Glenna was shot twice in the head but survived. After making a full recovery, Glenna told police that somebody had broken into their home before shooting them and fleeing. Marty's 3 children were going through things inside of his home when they found a manila envelope. Inside the envelope, they found suicide notes written by Glenna. Just a couple weeks before Marty's death, he received a phone call from a family member. The family member told him he had seen Marty's home in the foreclosure section of the newspaper. Marty had no idea about this, as Glenna was the one that took over the bills, and she hid from him that they were facing foreclosure. Even after finding the suicide notes, Glenna still proclaimed she was innocent. That is, until Marty's parent began reenacting the crime scene.
73 dinged on the kid?
Arguing in 2 different voices, and the last thing he said was... Glenna was put on trial for the attempted murder-suicide of Marty.
57 dead?
Marty's parent was the key witness.
It's time I tell you guys about the theory that Harry and Taylor committed vehicle manslaughter. Now, this is not my personal theory. Now, this theory started to come out after people realized that the lyrics in Harry and Taylor's songs are kind of weird and are all referring to an incident. Let me show you what I mean. In Style, she says, "You come and pick me up, no headlights. Long drive could end up in burning flames in paradise," which people tend to think
what the VIP
into an accident because of his bad driving. Then in I Know Places, it says, "Baby, I know places we won't be found," and they'll be chasing their tails and trying to track us.
In my books!
Which means they
good work.
And she knows a place.
Res. There's so many splash cannons.
Are we out of the woods yet? Are we in the clear yet? Which means the body was hidden in the woods. And she's wondering if they're clear, if no one suspects them. And then comes Sign of the Times. Now I know it has a back meaning, but the lyrics, "We gotta get away from here," could be referring to the incident. Now there's one
gay.
But this incident has been thought to happen in 2012.
Did he just laugh it up on us?
And there is kind of physical proof that it happened. So in 2012, they went on a ski.
Already no. Because this is my little.
As you can see, he was trying his best to find it. But here's a picture of his chin. Now, again, people tend to think that this happened during the car accident that led to the manslaughter. Now, apparently, Taylor's album Evermore came out after these rumors started to rise. And in that album, she has a song called Nobody, No Crime. Now, the lyrics of this song are very sketchy. I think he did it, but I just can't prove it. But I ain't letting up until the day I die. I don't know, but I think Taylor's trying to hint at us. And don't forget that Harry has
He's dancing because he has a spectator that he didn't even kill. Shut up, kid.
And this incident is thought to happen in New York.
At Disney, y'all gotta explain this. So the reason Nemo's an only child and can't celebrate Mother's Day outside of a graveyard is because a barracuda came and nearly clapped his entire bloodline. One problem though, barracuda don't eat clownfish, but you know who does? According to extensive research, Google, clownfish are known cannibals that will spawn, kill, and eat their own young. Oh, but that's not all. In clownfish society, the females are bigger, stronger, and more dominant than the guys. So if Marlon's wife went on a murking spree, I'm talking full cannibal Lecter, he would have been too weak to stop her. So what if his wife, Casey Anthony, man, I use that joke a lot. What if his wife squad wiped his family and then he was so traumatized that he blamed an imaginary barracuda for the mass genocide of his children? And what if as a coping mechanism he pretended that he was able to save her, which he named Nemo, a name that literally means nobody? It actually makes sense. Makes sense because if his wife was actually killed in front of him, according to clownfish rules, he would turn into a female to replace her. That could explain his severe trust issues and for the love of his life he erased his entire family. Disney, you have to know this one, or I'm just gonna assume.
Since it's predicted the future of our goal, the Simpsons predicted that in 1997, the Wolf had prepared most seasons from 9 to 12 perfectly lines up with Twin Towers. 9/11 happens 4 years later. In the 1992 episode, The Simpsons predicted Pearl Harbor. They have workers overseas call for 12 logs and ship it to the U.S. And it spreads to other people. They have riots asking for a cure. And then they even have killer bees. And now organ to detect it. What if 1111 actually works? There's just
Can't connect to the match.
that our wishes don't come true. What if the meteor that killed the dinosaurs was actually a UFO? And we are the aliens. And finally, what if every time you think you hear a being called, it's actually just your family trying to wake you up from a coma? Just something to think about with these. So y'all trying to hear that thought that kept me up last night? Just so y'all know, there's never once been a completed T-Rex skeleton.
Right in. We gotta number 24 oh yeah, Fortnite, we about to get down, confused on the board right now, just wiped out Tomato Town. My friend has gone down, I found him, now heading southbound, now we're in the Pleasant Park Street, looking back at the mark sheet, take me to your Xbox to play Fortnite today, you can take me to most of mine, but not look like I really want to chug with you. They can be both Fortnite players. Okay. We got another victory. Hey, Unforgiven. I like your feet. Oh, yo.
Oh, yeah, hello?
Hey, yo.
Hey.
Doesn't allow me to connect to the match. The fuck is this shit?
Yeah, because there's an update.
What, is it happening in 30 minutes?
Yeah, it says it will start approximately 30 minutes before, like we'll get to 30 minutes before the update.
I played super consistent, I popped off really hard. If you guys are
It says it was fucking... Oh, yeah.
it helps me out a lot.
Well, you wanna join this party chat? We're gonna play some, like, Roblox.
Thanks, mate. I hope you enjoyed the video.
I'm joking about Roblox, though.
This kid's so hard. If I simply get like a bit first, I haven't played with NA, so...
Say mum.
Actually, I'm playing...
Ah, stop doing that, guys.
Practice here, guys. I'm WKM, wrapping up.
Shit, nice.
I'm high.